It seems that board games are popular again, but why? And did they ever stop being popular? We're going to chat all about it right after this. Hey everybody, Sam here from the Tabletop Hub, your one-stop shop for all things tabletop. And recently I came across an article on the BBC News website about how Wales was seeing a boom in popularity when it comes to board games. The article looked at how the board game industry was growing and how they were becoming popular again, and it kind of got me wondering whether board games ever stopped being popular. I think board games have definitely been getting an increase in media attention in recent years, with more and more articles like this coming out. In fact, I'm pretty sure that an article like this pops up somewhere or other whenever Games Workshop share how much profit they make each year. But what is it that's catching the media's attention, and why do they think that now is the time that we're seeing an increase in popularity? Well, let's take a look at the BBC article and talk through it. In essence, the article is really quite short, and it is simply drawing attention to the fact that a gaming venue has opened up in Cardiff and how that in turn is giving local game designers an opportunity to get their games in front of other people. Now, the owner of the board game venue is quoted in the article as saying this: "As video games and the general ethos of that has gone more online, people just really want to sit round together and they want to play a game. Board games have just stepped in a huge way to fill that void." Now, the article even opens with a quote saying that there is no longer a stigma in taking a board game to a pub and playing it, and while I think there is truth in that, I think it also probably depends on the pub. Cynicism aside though, I think the main thing to take away from this article is that we are indeed seeing more board game venues open up, whether they be board game cafes, hobby stores, or just gaming club venues opening. There definitely does seem to be more of a push in the community to open and create spaces for board game enthusiasts to congregate. But I don't think this is surprising. Over the years, we've seen a real increase in the attainability of the board game industry. As a child, whenever my family sat down to play a board game, it was primarily something like Monopoly or Scrabble or Game of Life or another IP from a very recognisable large corporate brand. With the invention of crowdfunding platforms and an increase in the economic viability of self-publishing, we've now seen a greater variety in the games that we have access to. One thing I would say though is that I think it's a little naive to think that board games as a medium was ever at risk of dying out. You see, by 2023, the global board game market will be worth £9 billion. In 2017, The Guardian estimated that the board game industry in the UK had risen by 35% between 2015 and 2016, and by 20% in the USA during the same period. Board games are definitely not dying out, but they never were. They're simply becoming more popular, more mainstream. I equally think it's somewhat naive to think that just because a lot of video games are primarily online based now, that would drive people towards board games. There are still people that would hop in their car at the drop of a hat for a couch tournament of Mario Kart or Soul Calibur on the GameCube. And maybe that's just me actually. So Sam, if it's not because people are getting sick of video games and it's not that board games are cool again, why are they getting more popular and seeing an increase in sales? Well, that is a very good question, my passionate viewers, and I think it comes down to one thing: innovation. Every artistic medium goes through periods of rebirth and innovation, and I don't think the board game medium is any different. In the same way that artists get inspired by those who came before them and go on to greater heights of artistic complexity and achievement, so too do the designers of the board games we see and play today. The people who are playing Catan and Gloomhaven today will no doubt be inspired by these games to go on and create their own games, which will be even better and even greater than the games that came before them. In a way, every board game we create now is the launching pad for the board game designers of tomorrow to be inspired by, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Not only that, but board games nowadays are massive experiences in their own right. Of course, we still have the monopolies and the risks of the board game world, but recently I sat down to play Mansions of Madness for the first time and I was just completely blown away. Not only do you have a really thematic setting that the game exists in, but you've got this app integration, adds narration, ambient music, and tons more to your PlayStation. Not only that, but as more and more recognizable IPs get their own board games or miniatures games for that matter, it brings more people into the medium that may not have played a board game before, but now are intrigued to play their own stories and experiences in things like the Walking Dead board games or Battlestar Galactica and others, for example. I think the reason that board games are becoming more popular is because we're pushing the boundaries of what a board game can be. That because there are just some really great feckin' board games out there, to be honest with you. But what do you think? I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. But in the meantime, folks, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it here on my channel. Feel free to subscribe for more guides and videos and tabletop things just like this. But until next time, have a great week, and I will of course speak to you all soon.